So it's Xavier here, halfway down the garden, just by the beds behind me, on the greenhouse beds, which is where I have most of my air layers, and also somewhere around about there at the back of my head, if my hair's not getting in the way, is Zita's apple. And I've had a request to see if I can let you know how that's getting on, so we'll do that. And now that I've gone to the effort of hoovering the lawn and pulling up some weeds, I think I can safely show you that. So we'll close in on Zita's apple, and I can't believe it, it's raining. Bet you love the pose. Now you hear the creaking back. It's like a wide load or a big truck trying to get up. Creak. Yeah, so there it is. I actually removed the wire which I'd put on it 5-6 weeks ago. It'll be in the last video, I'm sure. But had a little slight infestation of the spit bugs or whatever. But overall, very, very happy with how it's looking. Nice and green foliage. Just pruned back the tips for the last time this part of the growing season. Yeah, so very, very happy with it. Probably the best it's looked since I did the work on it. And I'll give you a heads up. All the air layer work in that group there, I've had a little look under the foil, and there definitely be some roots. But in view of the hot weather, I'm going to hold off separation for at least another 2 or 3 weeks. The last thing I need is really hot, humid weather. Well, humid would be alright, but hot, frying them out. So I'll do a couple of other updates, kind of what I was asked about. It's just a matted jungle of everything, but yeah. So, why did I go ooh for? Yeah, I suppose the last one that was talked about was the cobra, which fit and healthy. You know, those wire scars are there, but I have every confidence they'll come out. Dawn redwoods this year has been an absolute nightmare, to be perfectly honest. And out of the 3 that you've seen, this one, well, we've got a lot of growing off, and we're going to lose a lot of fronds there, and there's a lot of new growth coming. So that's basically a wasted year, I think, on that. And then we're looking over. So I end up removing all the leaves of this, and I'm just waiting for that uro or oru to dry out, as Jason Hanrahan told me that is the name. I think it's uro for a hollow. But you can see already got all those lovely, lovely buds starting to open up, and definitely feel confident that we've got more than enough time before we go into the cooler weather. But I need to get this camera out of the rain now. It's funny, this one, normally very, very prolific, been quite slow this year. Haven't really had much growth from it at all. It's strange how different trees have these rest years. I think the only other one that anyone might be interested in, not the ficus, is the ginkgo there. Yeah, it's held its shape. Apart from one leaf over on the right hand side there, it's got through the heat okay, so we'll just wait and see how it does for the next 2 weeks, because we're going to have some more hot weather. As one of my perpetuum maples, lovely, lovely tree. Shame it doesn't air layer. I'm sure someone's going to tell me it does. But anyway, yeah. The root on rock, Zelkova. Going to need to prune that back, but that's nothing special. You know, that second pruning was done a couple of weeks ago, but already these ones are growing out. So that's encouraged some budding from stuff that hadn't come out a couple of weeks ago. And I say, just coming down the bottom of the garden there, just to show you, there's the rest of the ginkgos. I've pretty well kept them right in the shady areas. I didn't want them to get cooked, and they seem to be doing okay. They're certainly not thriving, but they're alive. All the Elm and Zelkova cuttings are doing well though. But I suppose I've got to show you that one there. is the other dawn redwood. Really beautiful example on a circular pot. I'm sure it's going to be alright, but all of this year's growth has browned off. So that's a start again job. And I think I'll follow Jason's advice, Jason Hanrahan, and possibly go for wet feet on it next year, which means keeping a pot of water. Yeah, the rest of the trees, I mean, obviously the oaks, I'm going to be selecting a few of those, which are going to be eBay sales.
So, dead, nearly dead, could be dead, probably dead, but we just don't know. I'm down here today at the bottom of the garden in the dead section to show you what my current dead tally is, because this year hasn't been the best and I've lost a couple of really good stuff, I think. So let's have a little look at the more obvious one, shall we? Oh dear, them bones. First thing, little oak. Looking in close, you can see the striations, or the moisture's been sucked out of the bark. So certainly on this upper section, it passes the dead test. Nice crackly sound. What I don't know is if down here there might still be hope, and you might get some budding out from down around here. So I don't know why it decided to kick the bucket. Certainly the top section all went. So I'm going to wait and see whether I get anything from down here. So that stays down here. Also, whoops, we've got a lovely hornbeam and a nice little bit of movement. It had absolutely nothing wrong with it. So I'm going to put this one down to the heat. Lost all its leaves, but with this one, again, treat it exactly the same, but up here I can already see the little green buds coming out all around it. And yet when you look at the bark on it, it looks, for all intents and purposes, dead. And you've actually got a little bud there. So there's green on this, so I may not have this original design, but I'm going to retain this trunk. There's little ones coming from this branch here. So again, decision not to throw that away was good. It just stayed in the dead section. Sadder story. Corkbark Elm, which you saw me defoliate. I did a branch just on one of them, and that definitely had the dead look on. So the ends are definitely, for all intents and purposes, gone. And I keep looking for some sort of sign of life on this. The only thing that I'm hoping with this one is that the actual trunk itself is fairly solid. I've done a scratch test on the bark itself, and it looks like that's still alive, but a lot of this, again, the branches look really sucked out, deeper brown and dry. I'm not going to try the crack test on these, because they do amaze you sometimes what they actually suddenly just start budding back from. But that is a cracking tree, or was a cracking tree, and I've got a funny feeling that in the end I went too shallow on the pot. But I'll leave that down the bottom of the garden in the dead section, and we'll see what happens with it. This one, great big monster Zelkova, completely dried out. And I must be honest, the more I thought about it this year, when spring came round, it didn't show any sign of shoots going out or anything. And for all intents and purposes, this beautiful big tree is forgotten. Except, just get to the right part of the camera. Don't know if you see it, just there and just there. There's 3 little green leaves. And you might think over a tree that big, that really isn't a lot, and it could well be that they'll die out. But it shows that there is some strength in there, there's something in there, there's some sort of living tissue. So for now, although I'm really disappointed, this was such a lovely tree, such a beautiful tree, but we'll leave it down here. Now, what is a goner? here's that. That was my nursery purchased Japanese white pine. All the needles went, and they literally went in the space of, it was in the space of a week, literally a week. The bark, you can see the drying out, very weak in the pot. There's absolutely no buds for that I can see, no candles at all that I can see that are going to come back from. But this is 99.9% dead. I'd love to know what it was, because say the big showpiece one, which I was really worried about, has come back beautifully. So in essence, things can look really dead and be dead, but equally they can surprise you. So as many of you already discovered, certainly with this summer it's been pretty grim, and it's only going to get warmer again for the next few weeks. Anything that's looking a bit ill, pallid, a bit like me, you know, a little bit uncertain about whether they're going to make it much longer, put them somewhere shady. Don't overwater, but just keep an eye, and then you never know, they may surprise you. So from Xavier, crouching in front of the greenhouse by the dead section, I'll say farewell. Cheers. Oh, you really don't want to see me get up. Let's see if we can hear me. Oh, that's dead. Can't remember what it was. I think it was an apple. Might have been a crab apple. That's dead. That was cuttings, Japanese maple cuttings, the yellow way. I don't blame him, but yeah, didn't work. Doesn't look like my Genko Aganu. Looks like the Zelkovas. In fact, this year has been an absolute nightmare for anything cutting wise as well. Anyway, enough of that. I'm off to get a coffee before I cark it. Crack, crack, crack. And just to show you that my little oak managed to get through alright. Clearly didn't have whatever that noxious disease was. And there it is, all fully leafed up. So at least I don't have to worry about those other oaks that have got that spreading white. So it's not bubonic plague. Anyway, there you go, so happy with that.